Hey everyone, it's Ethan or Miist back again for another video today, and welcome back to the channel, guys. We're here again for yet another video. Today we're going to be talking about every movie I watched last week, and overall I had a pretty solid week, much better than my last week, the last week of June. So the first week of July was definitely better, to say the least. So I say that, and my least favorite movie of the week is ranked at 33. Anyways, we're not going to get into that just yet. There's two things I want to talk about really quickly, which one of them is actually a concert. I went to another concert this weekend. We actually just got back a few hours ago from Maine in the United States. And yeah, Mel and I went to go see Jason Mraz in concert, which was really fun. We really both grew a big love of Jason Mraz last fall, I'll say, fall and winter, from Dancing with the Stars, which has become easily one of my favorite shows, and Mel loves the show as well. So yeah, I mean, we had a great time this weekend. It was a really great concert. We both had a lot of fun, and honestly, I enjoyed it a hell of a lot more than I thought I was going to. Obviously, nothing against Jason Mraz. He's amazing, obviously. But yeah, I just enjoyed it even more than I thought I was going to, so I'm really happy about that. Secondly, I want to talk about Money in the Bank, just really quickly. Of course, you guys might have seen my predictions video. Yeah, I mean, it's... It was a PLE, you know. In my opinion, and from what I've seen from a lot of people, they think this is Triple H's worst PLE. So, you know, I do think it's a little... It wasn't great at times. I feel like a lot of the booking decisions had us leaving scratching our heads, as I'm literally scratching my head. And with that being said, I mean, I'm trying to not think about it too much anymore, because I was really salty Saturday night, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think it's just something I need to kind of... it was something I had to get out of my system because I was a little salty, I was a little upset. But at this point, I mean, we just got to trust in Triple H. He always does well, so far at least, you know. I'm sure that'll continue, knock on wood. So, you know, with that being said, I enjoyed my time with the PLE. There was just a few booking decisions that I personally didn't agree with. Really, the first three matches. I'm absolutely okay with Drew McIntyre winning Money in the Bank, but I am not okay with him losing it same night and having CM Punk cost him. As being one of the biggest CM Punk fans on the fucking planet, I just didn't want that, because the Money in the Bank is such an important part of WWE each year. So that just kind of pissed me off a little bit. I was pretty salty for the rest of the evening, even though the rest of the PLE was pretty solid, and the women's Money in the Bank match was really, really great. Definitely the best match of the night, but honestly, I think every match was good. I was a little disappointed with Sami and Braun. I was just kind of expecting bigger, better, longer. So, and I really wasn't expecting Sami to retain. But hey, even though I predicted Sami, you know, whatever. Let's get into the movies of the week. And one thing I want to thank you guys for, actually, I didn't mention at the start of the video. I want to thank you guys for 300 subscribers. I really appreciate that. I've been uploading YouTube videos for a very long time, and this is my first time hitting this amount ever. You could add all my subscribers across all my other channels. I've had many channels growing up. I've probably only got about like 220 subscribers total. So again, I'm very thankful for the 300 I have. One of my goals this year was to make it to 1,000. So we're about halfway, a little over halfway through the year now. We'll see what happens, though. So, with that being said, let's finally get into what you are here for. Starting it off with my least favorite movie, which was Unfrosted, which is a new 2024 release, and really the only reason why I watched this movie. It was kind of short as well, but yeah, I mean, I ranked it a 33 out of 100. I've seen mixed reviews, mixed opinions about this movie. I personally didn't enjoy it very much, clearly. The comedy didn't land for me, but most of the actors in this movie I don't find are funny. So, you know, I mean, obviously it's just kind of like a bad comedy. I mean, really, it's just the best way I can put it. But unfortunately for myself, I don't find comedies to be very funny, and if you have been following my channel, you probably know that. Unfortunately, I just don't like many comedy movies. So, you know, with that being said, a 33 out of 100 for Unfrosted. So let's move on to my second least favorite watch of the week, which is Immortals. And to be honest, the only reason why I watched this movie is because Henry Cavill's in it. And it's weird seeing him so lean because of how much bigger he got for Superman, because this was only a few years before Superman, and he got a hell of a lot bigger. It's quite surprising. It's quite crazy. So overall for this movie, it was all right. I mean, I don't think it was like terrible by any means, but I didn't think it was really good or even decent. So that's why it gets that bad rating of 43 out of 100. So a little bit better than Unfrosted, but overall, this movie is the darkest fucking movie I've ever watched in my life. The entire screen is just black for like 80% of the movie. It was ridiculous. I literally couldn't see anything that was happening. Even if I didn't get to watch this at night, but I could see my screen. You know, it's not like there was many reflections. I could see my screen and I couldn't see anything. Like, I don't know. It was just kind of brutal to look at because I feel like I'd watched a 2-hour black screen. So with that being said, let's just move on to Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. And I actually watched the Beverly Hills Cop trilogy in April a few months ago, which ironically was when I was going to my first concert. So that's kind of funny. But at the time I didn't know that there was going to be a fourth, so I would have just watched them all together. But overall, I did decently enjoy this one as well. I don't think it's anything special, really, by any means. But I do think these movies are better than the Bad Boys movies. With that being said, I do think the Bad Boys movie is a little bit better than this one, mostly because of the impressive camera work from that. But nonetheless, I don't know. There's just something about these four movies, I guess, where it's really just the chemistry of our characters. I feel like on screen, they're really great together. Really just Axel, Taggart, and Bill. Those three especially. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed my time with it. Ranked this as 66 out of 100. Not bad by any means, but yeah. With that being said, let's move on to The Cat Returns, which is a sequel, and we will talk about the first movie here shortly, if you did not know. But The Cat Returns was a good movie. I mean, it's a pretty short movie. It's only like 75 minutes or something, 80 minutes maybe. I ranked it a 76 out of 100, and really, the only thing I took away from this movie is that I wish cats followed me around. My cat doesn't really like me very much some days, and that's depressing. I just want all the cats to like me. So, yeah, a 76 out of 100. Actually, there's quite a lot of cats this week, because I believe up next is A Quiet Place Day 1, which, I mean, the main character of this movie is Frodo the cat, who I absolutely adore, and everything on Earth made me want this cat to live forever. You can see the screenshot I have up here for you guys. It's the movie poster, it's the backdrop on Letterboxd. I fucking love this cat, and this cat was so cute. I absolutely loved the story. It was really great. Not really. I didn't think this movie was actually that great. I didn't think it was that special. It's definitely the worst of the trilogy. Obviously, you can read my review. I thought I had a little funny Mel line saying that Lupita and Joseph both have more sauce than an Italian grandmother. I just think that's kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed the acting in this movie. The story was okay. I felt like it was pretty predictable. And similarly to the other two movies in this trilogy, the acting is just a standout. It's great, and the use of sound is, of course, really good. I don't find it as good in this movie. Again, though, I feel like we're missing some sauce from the director of course, John Krasinski, so it would have been nice to see him at the helm there for behind the camera, but he will be for A Quiet Place Day, or yeah, A Quiet Place 3, technically 4, I guess, so this is being the third one. But I mean, with that being said, you know, I'm excited to see where this franchise goes, and of course following that family once again. I believe the Abbott family, I think it is. So yeah, I mean, overall, all I wanted from this movie was for Frodo the cat to survive, and he did. so that's a major win for me. So let's move on to WrestleMania XL Behind the Curtain. And this was a very interesting documentary, only an hour documentary. We've been waiting for months for. Mel and I watched it on our way up to Maine yesterday, and it was pretty interesting. I ranked it an 80 out of 100. I'm pretty biased, obviously, but I just learned a lot, and I really seen what the behind the scenes of going, whether they wanted to go for Cody's story or they wanted to go for the biggest main event of all time. And the fact that we went to Cody's story, I mean, obviously that shows how much the fans are behind Cody and how much the fans want Cody. So that's great, obviously. And I'm sure it's bittersweet for most people because we just missed out on the biggest WrestleMania main event, the biggest WWE main event, the biggest wrestling main event in the history of wrestling. But I think we'll get that next year, so we'll see. We'll see though. Anything could happen. I'm wondering if we get Roman and Cody for a third time at WrestleMania. That'd be kind of fun. But with that being said, an 80 out of 100. So let's move on to the favorite, also an 80 out of 100. This one I enjoyed a decent amount as well, obviously. A great movie, a 4-star. This was very interesting, and it really kept my interest throughout the movie. I didn't watch this movie with Mel, which she kind of got, not upset, but, she just kind of wished I had watched it with her. And I didn't really think it would be for her, but then I was explaining the plot to her and the cast, and she loves the cast. And she really liked the plot. She said it was really giving Bridgerton, which I've watched a little bit of Bridgerton with her. I mean, it's definitely different tones, but I do think she would like this. So I think this will be on the watch list again for the future to watch it with Mel. So that'll be exciting. But nonetheless, I really enjoyed this. This was my first Yorgos Lanthimos film, which I'm really excited about as well because he's been making moves, really. I mean, over the past like 5-6 years. So yeah, I really want to watch Poor Things because I never got to last year. Obviously, he's got a new movie out as well, Kindness something. I don't remember what it's called. Anyways, yeah, I mean he's a pretty big part of our media right now, especially in film. And like I said, never seen one of his films, so I really wanted to get into his filmography a little bit, and I'm glad I started it here with The Favorite. So let's move on to The King of Comedy, which I definitely understand when people say Joker is very much inspired by The King of Comedy. I absolutely see it. This is probably a movie I could have waited to watch till later this year before Joker 2 came out, but honestly, I wanted to watch a Scorsese film because I want to try to get through more of his filmography because this is only my second Scorsese film, and it's kind of short, so especially for Scorsese terms. But I rank this one at 81 out of 100. I don't think it's De Niro's best performance, but I do think it is one of his best performances. And honestly, I enjoyed this more than Taxi Driver, which I think is a hot take. I rank this an 81 out of 100, where I rank Taxi Driver an 80 out of 100. So, I mean, yeah, obviously I'm very excited to see more De Niro, more Scorsese. Obviously, they work together very often. And yeah, this really just excites me for more of those movies. So I'm excited for that to eventually come. And let's move on to, honestly, perhaps the most surprising movie of the week, which is Superman, the Christopher Reeve 1978 Superman, the Richard Donner directed Superman. I really enjoyed this movie more than I thought I would, so that's a good thing as well. I got to watch this with Ryan, who obviously is probably one of the biggest Superman fans on the entire planet. It's insane in a good way. And I was really glad I got to watch this with him. We didn't get to watch any of the sequels, but I'm hoping we're going to get to do that over the next few weeks. So yeah, I mean, I ranked this an 82 out of 100. So obviously I thought it was great, and I'm excited to see for what the rest of this franchise has, even though I've heard it's not great, but we'll see what happens. I'm really glad to finally start checking these off my watch list. So let's move on to Whisper of the Heart, where I mentioned the sequel was later on earlier with The Cat Returns. Or sorry, the prequel. I think I said sequel, but I meant to say anyways, this is the first. Whisper of the Heart was a very interesting movie, and it just kind of put in perspective at a you know, I'm 22 years old. I mean, my biggest goal in life right now is Mel, for sure. Like, my goal in life is to be with Mel and to make Mel happy, and we plan on, you know, getting married. That is what our future has. But apart from that, I feel like I don't have many goals in my life, and this movie kind of made me a little bit sad, just because I feel like it's kind of showing me that I'm not very set up for the future, I guess, just because I don't know what I want to do. Obviously, I love film, but I'm a very lazy person, and I know that, and it's hard to commit to things, especially, you know, this kind of thing, I guess. So just kind of put into perspective where I'm at in my life, being almost 23 years old. So anyways, overall, I really enjoyed the movie. With obviously some very deep and some very interesting themes throughout the movie as well. But yeah, I ranked it an 83, of course. So let's move on to the top 3 of the week now, with A Quiet Place Part 2. And I wasn't gonna watch the first 2 Quiet Places, but I decided to watch them, and I am glad I watched them, because both of them actually went down a little bit for me, which is a little surprising. So A Quiet Place Part 2 is my second favorite of the 3, but I lowered it a few points, from a 90 to an 88. So it's down to a 4-star now, but I still think it's a great movie, obviously. But what really raises this movie for me is the fantastic opening scene. The opening 15 minutes is absolutely amazing, and the final 10 to 15 minutes as well is really, really great. It's really beautiful, and this is why, again, I'm very excited to see what this story continues to be in the next movie. So I mean, it did go down a few points, but overall, I'm very happy with my rewatch nonetheless. It only went down 2 points, so I'm not too worried about it. But another movie that actually went down is Glass Onion, which is another rewatch, and it was actually the first time Mel got to watch Glass Onion, so I was very excited that we get to watch that together, especially watching Knives Out a few weeks ago. I really enjoyed my time with this movie again. I do feel like the first 40, 50, 55 minutes is a little bit slow, but once we get into the shit, we get into the shit, and I really, really enjoyed my time with this movie, like I said. I did lower it. My rankings have been all over the place with this movie. It started at a 92 after my first watch when it first came out. Then it went up to a 95 on my second watch, which I watched like the same month or a month later. And then I haven't watched it since then, so it's been since like January of 2023, I believe. And I ranked it a 90 out of 100 now. So it did go down, but overall, I still enjoy this movie. Obviously, I still think it's an amazing movie. Ranked it a 4.5 star, 90 out of 100. But yeah, I mean, it's just gone down a little bit. So let's move on to my favorite watch of the week, which is A Quiet Place, which also did go down. So that's kind of the theme of these top 3 movies. They're all rewatches, and they all went down, but they're still my favorite watches of the week. So A Quiet Place from a 96 down to a 91. So that's about a 5-point drop, obviously. A little bit more than A Quiet Place Part 2, but I do think it's a little bit better than the second Quiet Place. Obviously, a very emotional scene at the end of the movie, like the second one and like the third one. To be fair, all of these end pretty emotionally, and it's nice to have that kind of depth in a horror movie, because I don't feel like you get that very often in horror movies. So yeah, I enjoyed this. I really enjoy this trilogy, and I'm really excited to see where we continue to go with the rest of this franchise. I don't know how many more movies there will be, but I am excited for 4, which is going to be directed by John Krasinski, I believe. So that excites me. So with that being said, thank you guys all so much for watching. Obviously, this is a long one. Watched a lot of shit this week. I had a really great week. Watched 13 movies, went to a concert, and watched Money in the Bank. So thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you again for 300 subscribers. Follow my letterbox, and bye-bye.